this friend that was never, yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hi. How are you? So, and hello to the people in our audience. This is a Tirisana Moro. It's supposed to be Instagram Live, but this time we've upped it up a notch. And we're going to be talking about achieving innovation through collaboration. And who better than the man who started this whole Tirisana Moro situation, Carissa Fredericks. And also, we have a state diamond trader representative, Mr. Conrad Andaras. But who better to introduce yourselves than yourselves? So may you kindly introduce yourself. Yeah, so
All right. Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Kagiso Fredericks, and I'm the Beneficiation Manager for the beer's sideholder sales in South Africa.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Conor van der Ross, Operations Manager of State Diamond Trader.
yeah, you can tell the managers through the confidence in their voices. All right, so we're talking about achieving innovation through collaboration, right? And the term collaboration gets used a lot. We have the Setswana version of it, which is Tirisano Moho, which is what we know, working together, unity. But I googled the term collaboration, and it's said to enhance the implementation of innovative ideas and solutions by creating joint ownership and spreading the risk to a larger group of actors. So, what are your thoughts on this term according to your experience with collaboration?
Yeah, I think I try to do the same actually. Look at collaboration and innovation, and I think the definition you speak of is quite close to what we ended up doing. And when I say what we ended up doing is I've introduced myself. I look after beneficiation within South Africa. And Mr. Van der Ross is, from the State Diamond Trade, and he'll explain what they do. But I think, the joint elements are the people that we are looking to empower. They are I guess, what's the overarching goal? The overarching goal is to help and work with SMMEs in the diamond cutting and polishing space, and bringing them to a place of sustainability. So that's what we do, that's what they do, and I think that's where the commonality sort of comes in.
Uh, okay, I'm on. Yes, no, I would agree with that, but I'm always one that don't want to go according to what definition is given, because that definition is given by what shall we call them, intellectuals. I'd like to break it down further. I think you were talking about you come together to mitigate risk. I've got a different view on that. Um, Entities, State Diamond Trade on its own, De Beers on its own, have already done their risk assessment and have identified mitigating measures to that. And now what they're looking at is fine. Who do we work with to take this vision of ours? Because State Diamond Trade have been in the role of buying and selling of diamonds, and very little within the marketing aspect. So who better to then collaborate with than a company that has coined the diamond is forever phrase and is still relevant today. So it is identifying strengths and coming together to actually achieve this vision that you've got, that you want to achieve, and have seen mutual benefit in achieving it. So the risk factors has been dealt with. We have now found measures to say, how do we mitigate this risk? How do we take this vision forward? How do we realize this vision? And then that acceptance of that we've got limited know-how. And that's where you collaborate with somebody that do know, and you share in that commonality in that regard.
Absolutely brilliant. Carissa, I think you have a competitor here. So, okay. I mean, they sound like scripted answers, but this is what you live and this is what you do. And you both have worked together And I'm pretty sure that beyond the smiles, there were times where it was pretty intense because this industry, I'm not saying reveal your secrets, what I'm saying is, how do you, in essence, embrace constructive but very hard hitting feedback, especially when you've been doing something for a long time?
Okay, Mr. V, you can start off.
I somehow knew you were going to say that. Um, I think it's almost like a marriage. You got two individuals, or in our sense, two entities that have got its own mission and vision and where it wants to be. And it is finding, like I said before, that commonality. Um, Disagreements, if you have agreed to say that this is our shared vision, this is where we are aligned. We might have discussions around how do we get there. But that is normal to have those type of discussions because that's where the creativity then comes in. And also the realization that there isn't one path to achieve it. And this is the beauty of working with other entities or individuals. You cannot go through life thinking that you know everything. It is engaging and having that conversation that a light bulb goes off. I say, oh, I didn't think about that one. And that's what it's all about. It's about that conversation. Have the tough conversations, but always keep in mind about where the vision lies. And be open. Be open to actually learn, to listen and to understand, and then to accept the fact that there is not one path that will lead you there.
Yeah, fully agree. And you let the experienced people go first. So, Mr. V, I echo what you say, right? And I think in approaching this, my thinking and my belief has always been that if we are always agreeing, one of us is not thinking, right? So I look at disagreements more in a positive way because it means that you are either interrogating that which I'm putting forward, not with the aim of breaking me, but maybe with the aim of improving it. So with the disagreements, yes, I'm sure we had plenty, but I didn't look at it, in that spirit that, so and so's against me, but it was more around, okay, what are they trying to say? Why we're doing this? But I think, for me, the ultimate one in terms of, this collaboration was to say, look, we're doing this for the country. And if you put country first and everything else just becomes secondary, irrespective of whether that idea that I think is so brilliant was not accepted, but knowing that I'm doing this for the country, I think that really made things much more easy, at least from my side.
And so both of you, both of the organizations that you come from or are representing now, the main thing is, or theme rather, is beneficiation. And I can tell you now, Mr. V, that if anything, Capital will talk about, he'll wear out the concept of beneficiation, bring it back again, and then you go, oh, I actually never knew that. And and so I'm bringing it back again because that's a commonality. And when you think about collaboration or a concept in which there's been, how can you achieve beneficiation without collaboration? So in appreciating collaboration, let's talk about collaboration looking at the aspect of beneficiation from your individual organizations. We have Tirisano Moho, right? And I was talking to Carissa the other day. I said, there are a lot of people here. And they're individuals, but they're working together. They're collaborating. They're taking ownership. There are a few fights here and there, but it works. State Dam and Trader, beneficiation again. So when you think about a scenario where collaboration was meant to be there, but it wasn't there, but then the main goal was beneficiation. Do you hear my question? You can interpret it however you want. I want Carissa to start because I don't want him stealing your answers.
Yeah, what's the question again? Look, if I understood, the rhetoric properly, look, definitely, beneficiation is what we have in common. And, through that is looking at the different programs that we embarking on. And I think beyond the programs, there's individuals, there's businesses that sit behind them. And being in the diamond industry for as long as I've been, just a good 18 years, you understand the importance of relationships and individuals. And I think, that's maybe what we sort of share from a commonality perspective. And then when you throw in beneficiation, which is really around, value addition, it's something that is very close to what we do all of the time, not some of the time or most of the time, but it's something we do all of the time to say, how do we add value, A, to the product, but also how do we add value to the business, be it a Sunrise Gemstone, which again, something we have in common, be it Demolezeki, something we have in common, be it a Tokos Diamond, again, I'll say something we have in common, but it's, we look at it as, our babies, for lack of a better word, and everything that we do as separate entities is around, adding value to these businesses so that they can be beyond our time. Yeah.
I must follow that. I think I will just most probably take it from where the diamond industry was, because it's always good to go back before we step forward, because that coin of beneficiation wasn't there. And it was just the reality of separatism. It was people working in isolation. It was the perception of me, and me, and my legacy. And there wasn't really about beneficiation adding value. It was about the dollar and cents within my bank account. That's it. I think when the country took that whole definition of it and said, wait a minute, raw materials, we need to add value to it. We need to add value to it before it gets exported. And that also gave rise to State Diamond Trader. And that's now just the more clinical way of looking at it. And I think as we've been with State Diamond Trader been around since 2007, that whole thinking also has changed, because it's not just about adding value to the product. It's not just about that. It's about the individuals that have got the tenacity to be part of this business, and have got the foresight of where they want to be. They have seen the vision of State Diamond Trader of where and what it's trying to actually do, and have seen benefit in that, and have walked that journey with us. Kakishi was talking about the commonality about Toko Diamond, Sunrise Gems, and Molefi Litsigi. I mean, we can have the banter that says it's ours first. But it's important to also realize, because that's what we realize, that you have worked with these people from day one, and you got them to a stage. Feeds into collaboration. How do we get them to the next level? And that's where the beer is screaming. So beneficiation, about adding value to the product, but take that further. I mean, through your project, you have brought fashion designers together with jewelers, with refineries, with manufacturers. You have created this marriage now, really, about seeing value in it. So it is also just shaking off this very old way of thinking that kept all of these different type of creative people separate. You are seeing that whole reality coming to the fore now and saying, wait a minute, you are adding value to me by the work that you do in the fashion world. You are placing my product at another level instead of that product just being seen as a polished diamond. So there's another element of value added. You guys came up bringing the old fashioned side to it. We knew that there was already this marriage between polished and jewelry making. But in bringing all of this together, it's adding value and growth. I mean, we just come from a wonderful collaboration from Singapore now. And I'm saying a wonderful collaboration because it is a true representation of South Africa. We use that coin that says provenance, mines of Africa, manufactured by South Africans, but there's much more to that. We are owning that now. We are owning that, and we are saying, well, here are these brilliant manufacturers that were part of that exhibition, showing off the product that they have manufactured in their factories, from the goods that they either bought from De Beers or bought from State Diamond Trader from South Africa. So beneficiation is much more than just transforming rough diamonds into polished. It flows over into the whole growth of individuals as well. And I'm sure if we're talking about Molefe on the one hand and Norma and even Zippo on the other hand, they must probably have got a different view now because the minds have been changed as well. Far cry from the days of it cannot be done in South Africa. Far cry. Now we are saying, no, we will show you that we will even be more innovative. We will bring the fashion industry closer, So beneficiation to me goes further than just the transformation of a rough diamond into a polished or into a jewelry piece.
Absolutely brilliant. You would think I sent them these questions 2 weeks ago, hey? I mean, I don't know what's going on. But I appreciate how you talked about breaking down mental barriers, because it seems as though I recently learned about a concept called collaborative competition, which speaks on ensuring that when we collaborate, we're taking on ownership of our individualism, but also when I see you thriving, it inspires me to thrive, and so on. And looking at it in the African context, it's so beautiful that you mentioned what happened in Singapore. I'd like to know from your experience when you really stood there and you were there at the pavilion and interacting with other countries, what was the reception?
Okay, I'm on again. Well, you were talking about collaborative competition. I mean, what better way to show you an example than the 8 exhibitors that were there? Remember that they were individual companies. They were there to sell their product, but they collaborated. And it gets me every time. I mean, we've been doing this for 7 years. It gets me every time the spirit that exists within this pavilion. It's one of, I want to assist there, I want to help you, are you right there, that type of thing. So it's further than just that sale of the diamond. The reception, of course, the reception was good because how could you not miss South Africa? We are a vibrant country. Our colors of our stands were vibrant. Our look and feel was vibrant. You could not miss us. It could have been an irritation to some, but that is collaborative competition. We are there to really lay our stamp, and we are unapologetic about that because it is about, like Kisha said earlier, about the country, it's about the industry, the country. And the reception was good in the sense that people wanted to know more. But you got some countries that import the rough and manufacture it, and they can certify it and say it's South African on the cert as origin. But now you got a situation where, hey, here's a South African pavilion, and here's State Diamond Trader, government entity. That's now also saying to the rest of the consumers, we are here to endorse and say South African product. No other pavilion can actually say that. So as much as we were welcomed with some smiles, I'm sure we were a very good irritation to others.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that because it's uh, it's refreshing to work with somebody as brave as Mr. V. So yeah, it really makes things easier. But talk about the reception at in Singapore. I think it was my first time going there. The start of the first time going to this exhibition, and you sort of have an idea of what you want to see. And I think what we managed to do on the day was to really showcase that South Africa's here, South Africa's vibrant, South Africa's young as well. Because again, from the 8 exhibitors, geez, I guess half of them were under the age of 40, and which is good because I think I looked at that and I said, what, the industry's in good hands because we don't have people close to retirement, but you've got young people, and I guess you still youth up until the age of 35, Norma. Um, so the industry is in good hands because half of the exhibitors from South Africa were young, meaning that there is some level of continuity. And I'll go back to what Mr. V said earlier on to say maybe they started it first and we just maybe further polishing it or repolishing it, because what we saw there was really, you see in action the work that he's been doing with these SMMEs over the last 10 years, for them to be able to go to the exhibition and have a tray, not a tray basically, that stand full of diamonds and jewelry, and it's theirs. Right. So I think, that's the first thing that you get. And that was my observation to say, one, you've got young people. Secondly, they've got collateral that's theirs. They've got their own product and they're working together. And then you add the element of, us capturing the event, which now makes it even, better. And it was Heritage Month, and yeah, like we brought it to like so we had a Duke with the models, and that you cannot mistake for anything but African. So yes, South Africa was well represented, but I think Africa was also represented. Like you said, you need to do things unapologetically, and if that's how you start the conversation, you can only imagine the strength it gives us to bring ideas and just push and push and push, because you've got that leadership to say, let's do things unapologetically.
So brilliant. So, when you think about it, the African context really, it's inherent within us to be collaborators. Yet, as time progressed, it seemed as though it was a thing where, we hate each other, we don't like each other. But then, yesterday we had the exhibition, the Trisanamok exhibition, and one of the individuals said, "It's so beautiful seeing Africans working together." I'm like, but that's what we were born to do. And that's what we do. And so I'd like to know, how does one break down these mental barriers to achieve forward thinking? Because I know a lot of people, when the movie Wakanda, the Black Panther came out, people were so impressed. They're like, technology. And I was like, listen, how do you think we built bridges? What do you think? How do you think we've done a lot of these things? There's a lot of technology. It may not be digital to you, but technology started with us. We work together. And so just from your own personal experiences as leaders, and as being individuals who've been led, how does one break down the mental barrier to achieve forward thinking?
Yeah, I'll go for this one. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, how do you break down barriers to achieve forward thinking? I think as a leader, it starts with you, right? I can stand on the podium and tell everybody to work together, but if I can't work with, the state diamond trader, then I think, that's blasphemous, for lack of a better word. Oh yeah, it doesn't really work well. But I've always, had, the thinking that I know what I know and I know what I don't know. So it's better to let, subject matter experts come through and give, life to a project or a specific conversation. So I think, in terms of breaking down that mental barrier, you need to be, and I'm sounding very cliche, you need to be the change that you want to see as a start, right? Because it's only when, let's say the youth see, the more mature people working together, it then inspires them to want to do the same. And, with the youth we have, they don't want to do the same, they want to do better. So we just need to start it off and then they can then, just improve upon it.
Always check if I switch the thing off as I'm listening to the very philosophical answer here from Kahisho. I think you mentioned two things. You mentioned how does Africans work together? That's something different to how do you free yourself from mental slavery. Oh, I sound a Bob Marley now.
Wow.
Because that's what it is. If you are not going to be able to think that you are capable and you are allowed to achieve these things, you are always going to be at the mercy of somebody else that tells you your worth. So it does start. I mean, we've got a couple of programs that we do with the department where we go to schools and tell these youngsters about the diamond industry. Now, that's something totally different through them reading about the history. I won't go into the history. I've got my own views on that. But when you are showing them and you are showing them that it is a black person that is manufacturing, they didn't know. They don't know that we are manufacturing our rough diamonds. They are thinking that we are still just mining. So that's where you start off by. But you start off by also these exhibitions that are done. It is what you guys have done with your Instagram live conversations. We start relating to those that have done it, have broken those barriers. And then the light bulb goes off, oh, it is possible. In the African continent, I think comes back to what you were talking about, collaborative competition. If we start understanding that it's fine for us to collaborate and still compete. It breaks then all those other barriers. I think where you are placed as the peers in the SADC region, the young dementeers, Special African Young Diamond Pensions Guild, have got a role to play in this, in reaching out to Namibia, reaching out to Botswana as a start. Because we know when we started off this as South Africa, the whole issue around beneficiation, the other countries followed. Because the rest then said, we also want to add value to our product. It's the how. It is that belief that it is possible. You can actually have locals manufacturing it. Suppose here they are, as they present their businesses and their journey. Then it is learning from one another. But it starts off, it's fine to be in competition, but let's collaborate. Because it is about Africa. I'm going to stop there.
Oh, that's incredible. I'd like to open questions or comments rather from the floor. I don't know if we have any because I have a few for you. I'd like to start with Nomalungelo, who is a leader in her own right. Who is a leader in her own right. So please introduce yourself and really just based on what they were saying in your experience as a leader, or should I say president, what your views are on collaboration and its importance.
My name is Nomalungelo Stofile. I am the founder of Sunrise Gems. Collaboration. I think as Mr. V was talking just about how we trade, I just thought even as business owners, I can't sort of trade without having a network of other diamond merchants. If a client comes to me and looks for a certain size diamond and I don't have it in stock, I need to have quite a large network of people that surround me that might have access to the kind of stock that my customer needs. So, we in this industry, we really can't do any business without collaboration, without a network, without a team, without a community, without a village. Even when we polish, I might have certain skills in planning. Malifi might have certain skills in, with manufacturers and polishers. And that's, again, how we collaborate. So the diamond industry is beautiful in that you need a community. And that's exactly what being African is about. It's about community. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I love it. Gareth, may you ask one of the audience members a question?
Putting me on the spot there. I guess we spoke earlier on around fashion, and I guess the relatability, or that sort of how we sort of were able to merge the two. I think I want to ask our esteemed fashion designer, Abigail, to just to try and understand what do you think is the future of what we started, i.e. the dress with the diamond buttons. Where do you see that sort of morphing into, or sort of developing into next 2 to 3 years, or even much longer?
Mr.
Yeah, you can start off by introducing yourself, and then
sorry.
yeah.
Hi, my name is Abigail Bates, and I'm a South African fashion designer. I started my brand in '97, and I know I'm that old. And my journey with De Beers and Mr. Kagiso Frederick started a good couple of years ago. He asked me to do some dresses to showcase the Shining Lights Awards. And I think that just really sparked something in me. And, the two just are married. You put on a beautiful dress and you put on beautiful jewelry. The earrings to match and the ring. I mean, that's a whole different conversation, a beautiful ring. And then also collaboration between, it's just always made sense to me. Fashion and jewelry go hand in hand. So looking forward, I think being part of Terasana Moho for this year has really made me realize how important it is to bring these two industries together, how important it is to bring fashion and jewelry together, and to even, we made diamond buttons to put the diamonds on the dresses. And I think this is also just a wonderful way to show how we can work together and how the two products can work together, and how we can market South Africa together. These two industries, bringing the two industries together to market South Africa, South African fashion, South African diamonds, jewelry, everything, it's promoted to the world. And I think it's quite a unique way of doing it. And I'm very proud to be part of this process. And I'm very proud to be part of Terasana Moho. And I really want to push really hard. In the next 2-3 years, I really want to push very hard to get this idea out into the world.
Absolutely brilliant. So now, because I'm emceeing, directing this, I can tell people what to do. It's so great. So I saw a little interaction prior to us recording or starting this, I saw an interaction between Mr. V and Mulifi. And I said, I wonder what these two talk about. And so I'd like Mr. V to ask Mulifi a question.
I'm asking Molefi the question, and if you indulge me, MC, perhaps maybe I can ask it in 2 parts, two questions to 2 different people. The second person will be a surprise. But for Molefi, I think most probably the question would be this. What would you tell your younger DJ self? And what advice would you give yourself in your journey now, well, now that you know where you are at and your vision is so clear, what would you tell your DJ younger self?
That's a tough one. Keep DJing. Make the music. Look, I think with what you're saying, for me, I'm just thinking about what diamonds have meant over the years, you know. Starting in the business, I was selling diamonds because I wanted to make money. Until one day I made myself a diamond piece and I was wearing it, and the feeling I got from wearing that piece, you know, it's a feeling I knew I wanted to share with somebody else, you know, and you know, when you're a DJ and play music, that's the feeling you give people. You get people to feel good about themselves, you know, and wearing a diamond gave me that good feeling, you know, and that for me made a diamond mean even more, because then it made me not just want to go into a factory and polish diamonds, but to really polish diamonds that would make people feel good about themselves, and be able to also document that and really share it with other people. You see, one thing and maybe I'm diverging a bit, but I look at Tirisano Moch, and we're talking about mainly the product, the jewelry, the fashion, and everything else. But when you think about it, the project Tirisano Moch alone has taught me how I need to be able to write a story, how I need to be able to make sure that story is recorded, how to so it's brought in a videographer in my life, a photographer in my life, a writer in my life, and yet the journey was just diamonds, you know, which has brought in the picture altogether, because now the photographer or the videographer tells me this is how it's done and this is where it can reach, and in so doing, it opens the market for me. It's not that selling the diamond is not selling it to the room next door anymore, but it's really taking it to the ultimate end of the world. And this is sometimes where you had not seen, but because the videographer or the photographer saw it through the lens, they're able to take you to the ultimate space where you have never taken yourself before, you know? So, and I think that's the power of collaboration more than anything. So, to get back to your question, what would I have advised myself if I was younger? Keep the feeling going.
Can I go to my second question? Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I can, when I sit down with your dad, and I can tell him that. Now, we have spoken about this collaborative. It'll be interesting for me. I was sitting here and just thinking, as one individual walked in, and Molefi spoke about it, the videographer. So it'll be interesting for me to see, because this is, you know, sometimes us working within that space it makes sense to us. But I always get this sense that the photographer and videographers are able to capture and see other things that we don't. So you have been part of this whole journey, Greg. I would love to hear your perspective on that as well.
Cool. Thank you very much. My name is Greg. I am from 360 Visuals. My journey started with Tirisano Mocho, I think it must have been about 8 months ago, I think. Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
This is when you guys, okay. Anyway. Well, I think I started a little bit after Gareth did. Anyway, I got a call from Kagiso asking to do some video work, and I was a little bit surprised how the beers got my number, but a bit excited at the same time. But yeah, I mean, ever since then, it's been such a fantastic journey with you guys, meeting everybody and collaborating, and just understanding the meaning of Tirisano Mocho also is really special. Yeah, it's been fantastic. And then just in terms of putting videos together and stuff, my passion is really just to tell stories. You know, it's finding a story and then just telling it in the best way. And I mean, Molefi, it's awesome to hear that it's helped you guys out, and those videos are actually getting around. I mean, I know Andiles was saying the videos we did earlier were, I think he was on over 1,000 views on the one video we did for him, which is fantastic. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I just want to say thank you very much to you guys, and hopefully it's a long journey going forward.
Oh, I love it. And I think you think we're closing, but surprise, we're not. Just one more question. And this is based on women. You can't talk about collaboration, leadership without women, because women are known or recognized to be a group of people who are forward thinking in terms of collaboration. We are team players, you know. When we go out shopping, our so-called spring shopping, we think about the family, you know, when we do whatever we want to do. Our leadership style is very family oriented. And so there's a statement that Zippo once made. He said, we at Tokos Diamonds want to see more women in the diamond industry taking up space. And so Zippo. Zippo, tell me, why is it so essential to you within the space to see more women taking up space and more leadership roles?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Zippo Dlamini from Tokos Diamonds. I mean, look, I think for me, again, it's a legacy that obviously my mom has started, and I saw the passion in her, and when I look at the industry and I look at when you look at this collab, and I'll go with the under the wing of collaboration again. And if you look at most of the finished piece of a jewelry, you look at the designers and you look at the jewelry manufacturers, there's women playing space in that game. And when you look at Tokos Diamonds in terms of manufacturing diamonds, there's still a gap. And how we saw us filling that gap is to make sure that at least Tokos Diamonds has at least, we'll keep it at 70%, having those women in the factory. And again, you know, interesting part is that there's a lot of dedication in women when they do something than men. And I'm sorry, guys. So yeah, so again, I mean, yeah, I mean that's our philosophy, and that's our trust that we've actually installed in us, just to carry on with that spirit. And again, I mean, when we think about collaboration, yet again, I just want to again take the question further, because if you look at how we've all come together, I mean, even with the videographer's story, I mean, like he's saying, I mean, it's been 8 months. I look at the scale of the longevity of what Tresang has started. I'm looking at this in the next 10 years. I mean, how many jobs is it going to create? I mean, just making one piece that we're doing, maybe getting more orders, as it probably, if you have five employees in your factory, obviously with more work that we'll be getting, I mean, the scale is going to go up. So I really think, again, it's a very, very great initiative, and what a brilliant collaboration. And I really, it is not only just us coming together, but also the scale of what impact it can do in terms of the job employment in South Africa. That's already a big question.
Should we get you a chair and then put you right here? Because wow. So with both of you, what, if anything, what would you want anyone to take home from this entire session? Because the beauty about such dialogue is that it's not only just relevant now, but in 10, 20 years to come. So what would you want your biggest take home to be?
Yeah, look, for me, I think, you know, the starting point is, like you said, I like to deliver on beneficiation. So beneficiation, again, I just want to reiterate, is around value addition, and it's about transformation. So value addition to the product, value addition to the businesses that we work with, transformation of the industry, because again, given the history of South Africa, we really do need to see the industry transforming so that we can have a much more equal society. And when we say industry transforming, it's not just about race, but it's also about, the gender roles whereby, what Sibo was just said around, having more and more women involved and, taking ownership roles within the beneficiation space. Because ultimately, let's think about it, who are the consumers of the diamonds that, we are beneficiating? And I'll leave that as a pause. So first, yeah, so one is beneficiation. And my last point or that I want people to take away is really about, why it's important to collaborate, right? In the world that we're living in today, there's a lot of competition, right? We're competing every day, I guess in most cases with ourselves, but sometimes you compete with other businesses, with other industries for the consumer's share of the wallet, right? And if you're a one-person entity wanting to compete and wanting to do everything yourself, you ultimately are doing an injustice to yourself and to your business. So it's quite important that you do collaborate if you want to see that growth that your business, needs to have. If you want to see a transformation, because if you're collaborating and, it's different ways to collaborate, having you to work with me and not for me is also part of collaboration. So you can also create employment through collaboration. So again, if you want to see, really your business grow, I would say collaborate on one or many facets of it, because that's how you can see, sustainability and you can see transformation.
Why do you ask me to go first? Um, okay. This is what I want people to release yourself from mental slavery. You are able to do this. It is possible to be done. Collaboration, absolutely important. We need one another to succeed. Done. Tenacity. Everything is a process. I think this thinking of instant gratification, we need it like yesterday. We want to be rich yesterday. I want my brand to be out there yesterday. I want to have my brand in Bond Street and all of that. No, it doesn't happen that way. It starts here with this collaboration. What you guys are busy with, it starts there, and it starts growing from there. So being patient, but still hungry, is important. And like I said, the most important thing is just that everything is possible. The one thing that I want to say as well is that we said that in order to collaborate, you need to understand your own strengths. So Michael Jackson said, speak to the man in the mirror. So I have that conversation with the man in the mirror. Where do I want to be? Woman in the mirror. Where do I want to be? What do I need? What's not working? What's not? Because sometimes if we don't do that, then our business hasn't got a clear vision. Because the vision of the business cannot only be to make profit. There got to be much, much more to it. And if it's your business, it means you are the business. So you've got to be in the right state of mind as well. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Just both of you have been amazing, and thank you for not letting me send you questions. I don't send Gariso questions anymore. He knows why. Mr. V, it was very intentional. I want you to know I lied. I didn't email you any questions. I knew you'd be so great. I want you to see the questions prior, but it's so beautiful to see two leaders and the leaders within our audience making waves and really showing the world that we can and we are doing and we're doing together and we're innovative and forward thinkers. I would like to also thank myself for doing a great job.
We'd like to fix
All right, thank you so much, everyone, and goodbye.
it.
Thank you.